Welcome back to Play It Forward. This is Kahlief Adams of the Spawn on Me podcast. We have a really great segment coming up for you right now. We are giving away our Jerry Lawson Award. Again, this is for folks who have been trailblazing and knocking down doors and breaking barriers in the video game industry. And to give a little bit more information, not only on the IGDA Foundation, but on the Jerry Lawson Award, we're going to kick it over to Nika Noor, who is the executive director, who's going to share a couple of words right about now.
Thanks, Kahlief. And hi, everyone. My name is Nika Noor, and I'm the Executive Director of the International Game Developers Association Foundation. We're a nonprofit focused on advancing diversity and inclusion solutions in the video game industry. Our goal is to ensure that we have a game development community that is representative of and welcoming while inclusive to every person who wants to make games. In previous years, the IGDA Foundation presents the Jerry Lawson Award at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. The Jerry Lawson Award for Achievement in Game Development is a tool to highlight the accomplishments of a person who identifies as an underrepresented minority in the game development community, with a special recognition of work directly related to game development. This year, with the challenges of the global pandemic, we did not want to diminish the value of our recipients' tireless efforts to make the industry more inclusive by simply mailing out this award and calling it a day. And I'm really grateful to everyone for making the time today and making sure that this moment receives the attention it deserves. Thank you for playing it forward.
Thank you, Nika, for your wonderful words about the foundation and about the Jerry Lawson Award. But now it's time to give that award away, and I can think of no one better to do so than the incomparable Sarah Bond, Corporate Vice President of Gaming Ecosystems over at Microsoft. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us, and take it away.
Thank you. I am just honored to be part of the celebration, and I am proud to announce that Laura Teclamariam is this year's recipient of the IGA Foundation's Jerry Lawson Award. I remember the first time I met Laura, we were at an industry reception, and without knowing who I was, she came right up to me, she introduced myself, and I just remember noting her incredible spirit of inclusion and community, and it was just an honor to meet her at that time. And I know there are moments like that for everybody, which are no doubt countless. Laura has just demonstrated like an incredible grit and resilience and accomplishment over the last 17 years, working in product management, interactive media design, and software engineering. She has led game development and managed strategic products from economy design to game monetization, which is just so rare. And these days, she's responsible for product management and direction for WB Games in San Francisco, which owns titles like Harry Potter, Wizards Unite, and DC Legends. In addition to always championing the product vision, she is responsible for managing the business and making sure monetization design establish the right key metrics to showcase confidence in the market. Laura's career accomplishments have been built on top of her education, including a Bachelor's of Science degree in Electrical Engineering, a minor in Computer Science from the University of California of Irvine, where she also just happens to be featured in the UCI Engineering Hall of Fame. Additionally, she grew her business acumen by acquiring her executive MBA at the Haas School of Business from the University of California, Berkeley. From her early days at Microsoft as a software engineer to managing a portfolio now of over $250 million across EA's mobile platform, Laura has always been a constant pillar in the Black gaming community. And just recently, while juggling her 3 children, she transitioned into a new job and is learning to balance new responsibilities while all during this global pandemic. And she just always continues to amaze her peers, friends, and allies. There really is no limit to what Laura can do and the goals that she will advance to ensure that the video game community progresses to be more diverse and inclusive. I am so deeply appreciative of Laura's drive and commitment to game creators around the world. I'm honored to have been in her wonderful spirit, and it is just a pleasure to name her as this year's 2020 Jerry Lawson Award recipient.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe Sarah just said all of that. I'm emotional right now, and I'm not supposed to be emotional on a podcast. This is truly an honor. I'm really shocked. So thank you, Sarah, so much for presenting me this award. It means a lot to me. You are amazing, and you continue to inspire me. And also thank you to the IGDA Foundation. I want to start out, let me first get myself together and say, I want to start out with some information. When I think about the gaming industry, I think about a study done by an Ithaca graduate in 2014. They were examining racial and gender representation in the video games, and that research found that white protagonists were prevalent in the top 50 games in 2014 at 67%, while Black and Asian characters were represented at 3% and Latinos 1% respectively. I don't believe these numbers have drastically changed now in 2020. So when I think about this Jerry Lawson Award, it really fills me up with so much passion, because I think about people who challenge the status quo, people like Sarah, people who think beyond themselves, like Nika and Kahlief. My journey in games started 10 years ago when I recognized that my 3 daughters were 20 times more likely to see a video game character who did not look like them or have a brown and black face or blackface. So since then, my journey has been twofold. 1, finding innovation in technology and entertainment, and 2, building infrastructure and strategy. Getting this award reminds me that my work and sleepless nights, sometimes they're a little painful, are not in vain. And hopefully there will be a future me who will benefit from my work just as I've benefited from the groundwork that Jerry Lawson has established. I'll leave everyone with a couple lasting thoughts. If we all make a commitment where each one of us teaches one, then we can start to impact the industry at scale. I have a vision to where we can increase the number of Black game developers in the industry from 2% to 5% in 5 years. I call it the 5 in 5. I hope you join me in that vision. Lastly, I would like to thank my husband, Narayo, my daughters, and of course my mother for just continuing to support me throughout the years, the many nights where you've played with me and also had to play all my good games and some of my not so good prototypes, but continuing to support me throughout that journey. And I could not have done it without you. Lastly, thank you again to Nika, Kahlief, Sarah, and I hope that everyone is well during this COVID crisis. You guys are just filling me up with so much joy with this award that, I'm hoping that I can push it forward and be able to help the industry for the next generation. Thank you again.
So, first of all, again, congratulations, Laura. You so well deserved, and Sarah, thank you so much for your kind words as well. Presenting the award. So, Laura, you already totally made me cry a little bit. Thank you very much for doing that early in the morning. I appreciate that, because it's again, when I think about this award and what it means, not only for in namesake, but what it means to see 2 amazingly brilliant Black women, in this space, who are at the top of their field and the top of their game, sharing these stories about what this means to everyone in the industry and how you're thinking about trying to move this thing forward. It absolutely gives me nothing but the most joy to be able to have this one moment with both of you here together to talk a little bit about just not only the time that you have spent in this industry, but again, looking forward to what this means to building what this next generation of Black devs is going to wind up being, and helping to see that kind of come true. Laura, you talked about the 5 in 5, and again, that's brilliant. Right now, what is the most tangible thing that we can kind of do to make this thing happen in the time that you're looking to get this thing done?
It's a great question. I think the starting point is recognizing the numbers for where they are. I'd love to see all the top gaming companies, and I'm having this conversation with several organizations where, just if we could get all the top gaming companies just even to release their numbers and to acknowledge their numbers, I think that's a start, because it's hard to solve a problem if you just don't even acknowledge that the problem exists. So the 5 in 5 is a call for help to say, hey, this problem exists, and we want a journey together to really work together to solve it. And so that's the start, is acknowledging it. I think the second part is allowing for everybody who has resources to bring those resources to the forefront. Like, for example, your podcast, there's a lot of organizations like Black in Gaming, you have Game Heads. And so a lot of times people don't know about these resources so that they could go seek help and find their way to get mentorship, sponsorship, support, education, so that they can get into the gaming industry. So it's really about connecting the pipeline to those resources. I would say that's the second part. And then the third part is that, like, if you think about the three of us, I know Nika's not being shown right now, but the four of us all have contributed and play a part in this space. And a lot of people just don't know who we are. So thank you for continuing to promote and add visibility. I think that also adds and contributes to how we can move this vision forward.
Yeah, and Sarah, I wanted to ask you as well, because I know we had a chance meeting at E3 last year. I remember seeing you on stage and then screaming to everyone in my row, "Who is this Black woman on stage right now? Why do we not know who this person is, and why are we not talking about her all day, every day?"
That's right.
And I think that conversation, again, bouncing off of what Laura talked about a minute ago, is what can we do to continue to make sure that we are being seen in these spaces that we know. I remember hearing the story of Jerry Lawson so many years after I'd gotten already into the video game industry and not knowing who Jerry was. And then, Jerry is now on my Mount Rushmore of Black folks in the gaming industry. Like, I think of you two as being other folks who will be on that, edifice at some point as well too. But, what should we do to kind of help, tell our stories and make sure that we're being shown and make sure that we're being visible?
One of the things I think people have hesitated and shied away from is talking about this at all. And I think it's one of the really beautiful things that has come out of the Black Lives Matter movement, is that we are talking about it. It used to be, you talk about that on Black History Month, but not any other month. And it wasn't acceptable within social circles to really just be open about the challenges of representation in gaming, but just in the world, frankly, right? In media all up. And so I do think just owning that narrative and talking about it every day and making it something that is integral to being human is to enable that every person has an opportunity regardless of their circumstance, and that is a human problem, is just a critical step. I think Laura was spot on. There are two things going on in video games, and they're related. There's the representation in the game, and then there's the representation of the creators. But like all things, right? The creation always is a mirror image of the creator. I mean, that you see that across everything. You've seen things where early versions of AI and voice recognition tools couldn't male voices because there were no females on the team. I mean, it's just a consistent pattern in technology. And so what I really look for is how I can, in leading gaming ecosystem, and my team can, frankly, because I have a very passionate team about this, create opportunities for creators who otherwise might have been overlooked, or might not be mainstream. They might not have had all of the pedigree of a large publisher, but they are creating a beautiful game that has a beautiful story and giving them an opportunity to really shine on the platform, so that then you have a flywheel of them being another game and bring others along with them and bring those stories that otherwise wouldn't have been heard out to the world. And that's one thing that we really, really lean into with the ID at Xbox program. We've been ramping that over the last couple of years, and there have just been some incredible stories that have come out of that. The other thing I would say, you mentioned the Xbox Game Showcase, is I hope you guys saw in that showcase some fresh voices and perspectives. And it's one of the things that I'm so proud of about what we are doing as a platform. I think that all platforms have an incredible opportunity to shape the voices that are heard in the games that are showcased, so that they, alongside games that we've seen for years and stories and characters we've seen for years, all of these other stories and creators actually have an opportunity to shine.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like we were seeing an interesting sea change happen where, when I was growing up, we didn't see us at all in any of the stuff. And I'll be 42 this year, so it's like, you know, most of the lifetime of gaming have not seen us in it, and it's been fantastic to see a lot of that change through the work that you are all doing. Laura, one last thing before we let you all go. Sarah talked about, you know, your three children, you know, you going through all these wonderful things that you're doing in your life and having 3 kids and raising them, and being a mom during everything. How does it feel to have them see their mom be such a boss and be like, yo, I'm doing all these wonderful things in the world, and like, you know, I'm doing all this cool stuff all the time. Like, how's it feel for them? Have you talked to them about that part?
Oh my goodness, that's hysterical. You know, my kids, I definitely feel like they, as they get older, they recognize kind of they recognize the impact that I have much more. When they were younger, it was more like, I remember when I was working on PVZ2, and my kids came with me to the studio, and they were like telling some of the artists, like, "Oh my God, that zombie has 2 heads. It can't have 2 heads. Like, you know, that doesn't look right." And so they're just weighing into, you know, these artists. I was like, you know, at first I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my children," but you know, they had just as much passion as I did. And like now, my oldest, so I have a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And so my oldest now, I think, is starting to understand the impact. She comes with me. I had spoken in Brazil, and she, you know, she's come and seen me speak, and she's seen the impact. She's seen the game. She's watched me many a nights where she has to go to bed, and she's seeing me play on Unity and work with the prototype and look at camera angles, look at different like abilities, and look at character kits. And she's, you know, really just the attention to detail in the design and figuring out how to make the game better. And then when she sees the final product, she realizes like, wow, like I remember when my mom made those decisions, or I remember when she chose those characters, or, you know, if I'm looking at like a female squad lineup and I'm thinking about, you know, whether it was on Star Wars, like what are all the female characters in Star Wars, or whether it was on, you know, looking at all the different IP I've worked on, you know, she can see the direct impact that I have on products that millions will touch. So it's been a journey, and I appreciate that question. And so I'm just hoping that there, just as much as I'm impacting my daughter, there's many other daughters out there that will also be touched as well.
Yeah.
Touched and impacted. I want to one day be like Sarah, you know, to rise to, you know, I'm inspired. I saw Sarah, and she continues to inspire me every day. So.
Yeah. And you both continue to inspire the heck out of me. And again, thank you so much for being with us on Play It Forward. And again, congratulations, Laura, on getting this award. And Sarah, thank you so much for presenting. I'm gonna switch really quick over to our one shot. Again, thank you everybody for coming through during the stream. I am so excited. And again, thank you to everyone who came through for our Jerry Lawson Award today. We have more Play It Forward coming to you for the rest of the show. Make sure you, again, are donating. Make sure you are sharing and spreading the word. And we'll see you right back after this.